Hello, my name is Frozen Guillotine, and I will be reading an unabridged version of Just Between Decks, a Star Trek Voyager 7 Janeway / fanfiction written by Gina L. Dart. Captain Catherine Janeway of the USS Voyager glared at the alien who stood insolently on her bridge, holding a very large disruptor rifle, feeling her lips draw back from her teeth in a primitive snarl. With an effort, she controlled it, composing her face into the impassive command mask that had served her so well for so long. The rest of her bridge staff stood uneasily at their posts, waiting for her next command as they regarded the alien strike force with a mix of anger and concern, made impotent before they understood what was happening, caught flat-footed by the abrupt materialization of an enemy on the ship. There hadn't even been a warning from the sensors, no indication that there might have been a ship nearby. There had to be a ship nearby, Janeway thought darkly. Beings just didn't materialize out of thin air. She studied the intruders keenly, assessing every detail as she worked on a plan. They were all tall and wide, but that could have been more a result of the black armor covering their bipedal forms than any particular physiological trait. Bulky helmets with opaque face shields covered their heads, and their weapons were large silver constructs that were clearly designed so that there was no question about their function. There was a right end and a wrong end to these things, and right now the crew members of Voyager were very much on the wrong end. Beside Janeway, his burly form tense, his big hands gripping the arms of his chair, her first officer, Commander Chakotay, looked less than entirely human, his dark eyes glittering ferociously. At the helm, near the front of the bridge, the fair-haired Lieutenant Paris swung his chair around to look at the command staff, waiting for orders. While at the rear of the bridge, at the op station, Lieutenant Harry Kim frowned uncertainly, a lock of dark hair falling boyishly into his eyes. Only the dark-skinned Vulcan, Tuvok, standing passively at his tactical post, seemed unruffled by the unexpected appearance of the aliens. Though Janeway knew that was a fallacy, the two junior officers covering the auxiliary stations looked absolutely terrified. "Who are you?" Janeway demanded, her laser gaze boring into the aliens, who unfortunately did not fall down dead from the sheer intensity of it. "Quiet!" the armored figure grunted. Janeway forced herself not to cross her eyes as the muzzle of the weapon centered directly between them. Motion from the corner of the bridge caught her attention, and everyone turned to watch as a new figure stepped off the upper level to the command level. It was also armored, but seemed slighter than the others standing guard, and when the gloved hands reached up to remove the opaque helmet, Voyager's bridge staff was surprised to see the hardened features of a rather diminutive female revealed. She would have been fairly attractive but for the ragged scar that marred the smooth flesh slashing across her face and the bridge of her nose, and the eyes, solid black, without any hint of mercy or compassion in them. "You're in charge?" she asked without preamble, taking a position in front of Janeway. "I am Captain Catherine Janeway of the USS Voyager," Janeway began, attempting a civil expression, hoping somehow to resolve this in a diplomatic way. "We represent the "Shut up!" the woman said in a bored tone. "I'm not interested in your life story." She reached out and grabbed Janeway by the auburn hair at the top of her head, keeping her immobilized. "I'm only going to tell you this once, so listen well and impress the importance of what I tell you upon your crew. This is our ship now, and while we would rather not kill you because we have our use for workers, if we have to, we will." Before the captain could react, the woman pulled out a smaller weapon from her hip, and without looking, fired it at Ensign McCormick at the science station. The blast caught the slender brunette high in the chest, slamming her back against the wall, where she slumped to the floor, crimson staining the surface. Her eyes, wide and horrified, never left the captain's, and Janeway thought it had been a look of betrayal and accusation in the junior officer's final gaze before her eyes dulled permanently. Janeway herself only had time to start abruptly before the weapon was being pressed to her forehead, the cold metal cutting into skin. "Don't," the woman warned in a deadly voice. Janeway was aware of the rest of the bridge crew also being restrained by muzzles pressed hard against their heads. "That was an example, Captain Janeway. You will order your crew to cooperate with my people. You will be assembled in one of your cargo holds. Any attempt to resist will result in immediate death. Any attempt to initiate a self-destruct of this vessel will result in me killing you and going to the second in command. I'll work my way down from there until I find someone who's smart enough to know when they're outmatched. Do we understand each other? You will not harm anyone else if we cooperate?" Janeway asked in what she hoped was a perfectly even tone. She had never felt as angry as she did at this moment. Her stomach churned impotently. Tears of rage stung her eyes, but she refused to show it, maintaining her command mask with the greatest of effort. "I didn't say that," the woman said with black humor, eyes gleaming unpleasantly. "All I said is that I would kill anyone who didn't." She paused. "Do you require another example?" "No!" Janeway said quickly and harshly. "I believe you." She inhaled slowly. "I'll need to access the communications console. Or you can verbally access the computer," the woman countered flatly. Janeway did not flicker, but inside she felt a certain apprehension. The invader's words indicated a far better knowledge than she should have about how things worked on a Starfleet vessel. That meant that Janeway had to be very careful here. She cleared her throat, and the muzzle eased off a little, the alien releasing her hold on her hair abruptly with a final pull that made the captain's head ache. "Computer, relay shipwide," Janeway said stiffly. "This is the captain. Voyager has been invaded by a superior force. We are in condition indigo. All crew members shall cooperate with the invaders and assemble in Cargo Bay 1. Alright, I'm gonna stop it here and take a moment to record a small note. Thank you to the Novel Expectations fan forum and Gina Dart's forum. I'd like to say that I'm sorry if I got any intonations wrong or pronounced any names incorrectly. Please keep in mind that I am doing this of my own free will because I do very much enjoy Gina's works, and I think that they should have a recorded version. I'm not a professional. And I am minorly dyslexic, so if I've missed anything or mispronounced any names, please forgive me my occasional grammatic or tonal slip-up. This was actually a very fun experiment. I'm going to cut it off about here because YouTube's minute limit is about 10 minutes, and this is a good enough sample for the people on the board to decide if I've done this right. You can leave comments on the Novel Expectations board in the thread about this podcast and recording, or you can leave it on my YouTube channel, or email me, or whatever have you, if you have any suggestions, comments, advice, anything. I'd love to hear it. Contact me at ravenhunter666@yahoo.com. I absolutely love feedback. Please, thank you. Also, thank you to Gina very much for writing this incredible series. Alright guys, I should have more of it up. Also, I'm starting with Just Between Decks, simply because I know it doesn't have any smut in it. Not that I don't like the sexual parts of the series. I mean, Gina writes them very, very well, but I want to try this out because I'm not a professional with something that doesn't have what could be considered awkward scenes to read aloud. I hope you can understand that, and I really hope you enjoy this sample. Please let me know if you want more. Thank you. Just thank you, everybody. Alright, drop me feedback, let me know. Thank you. Bye.